Hey fam, welcome back. In today's video, I'll be creating 3 looks with the brand new Lethal X Theresa is Dead, Lethal is Dead eyeshadow palette. I also picked up 2 of the gel liners and we will be playing with these as well. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and stay tuned. We're gonna get into it right now. So today we're going to be creating a look with this beautiful new palette from Lethal Cosmetics and Theresa is Dead called Lethal is Dead. Lethal is an indie brand. I believe they're out of Germany, and this is my very first time trying their formula. Theresa is absolutely one of my favorite creators. I found her channel when she was at around 6,300 or so subscribers, and it took me like 5 seconds of watching her to subscribe. I immediately was in love. I told her, I was like, that's the fastest I've ever subscribed to anybody. She is so funny, so warm, and so sweet, and I love watching her videos. I couldn't be happier for her with this opportunity, and I cannot wait to create a look with this palette. Theresa was inspired by her love of horror movies. I think specifically like 80s horror movies like Jason and Michael Myers and all that stuff. I know she loves Jaws. So when we look at the shade names of this palette, we can absolutely see the inspiration. We have Straight to VHS, The Final Girl, Spellbound, Watery Grave, Body Snatched, Ancient Evil, Predator, Creature Feature, and Vengeful Spirit. I also love that the mirror says don't look behind you. Like, how perfect is that? This is a very unique color story. It's very pretty and a bit of a puzzle. You can easily create obviously looks like a green look, a red look, and a purple or blue look, but I'm not sure how these colors would work together if you wanted to do something that was not monochromatic. I'll have to kind of test it and see, but I'm just gonna kind of go with my gut and we'll see how things turn out. So I decided to refilm these looks. Watching back over the footage, I felt like I could do a better job. So today we're gonna be creating 3 new looks with the Theresa is Dead and Lethal Cosmetics collab palette, Lethal is Dead. So first I'm gonna reach in with this small packing brush into the shade The Final Girl, which is this pretty pinky red tone. And I wanna just start this in the inner portion of my eye, packing the color in. This formula is very velvety. It's really pretty. It's much easier to work with than I had first thought it might be, just based on the color story. Reds tend to make me a little bit nervous, but this is a really easy shade to work with. The mattes are pigmented without being like overwhelming or hard to work with. So if you're not as into color, I think this is a really approachable formula to use. So we're just packing this on the outer corner as well, and I will go back and blend. I just want to work on the shape first. Next, with the same brush, I'm going to tap into Vengeful Spirit, and I'm going to lay this a little bit lower in the inner and outer corner. Now taking a fluffy blending brush, I'm just going to work to blend these 2 shades. And I'm leaving that little space in the center open. I'm just focusing on the inner and outer corner at first. Now that we have both of those shades laid down on both eyes, I'm gonna reach back into the palette with a smaller blending brush, and I'm gonna reach into Predator, this blue shade. And I wanna just pop this at the lowest part of my outer corner and the lowest portion of my inner corner. I also want to note that the mattes in this palette are really easily blendable. I really think this was a very smart color story. At first when I saw it, I was a little bit confused. I just saw a couple like monochromatic looks and I wasn't sure what I would personally do with it until I started playing with it. But what I have found is that a lot of these colors can kind of go either way. So this darker blue can really work with red tones as like a purple, because these are a little bit more purple than they are red. And then you can use the blue to deepen up or bring out those purple tones. Similarly with this teal shade, it can go either blue or it can go green. When it's kind of layered on top of this green, it gets very minty. So I think even if it looks like you only have like 9 colors in this palette, when you use them together in different ways, it's almost like you get completely different tones. So I think that's really creative and interesting, and it was a really nice surprise when I started using the palette. Now going back with our clean blending brush, which has gotten a little pink from blending, I'm just gonna use this to very gently, because I don't want to muddy the colors up too much. I'm just going to use this brush to get this all blended, soften any harshness, and prepare the lid for a shimmer. Next, for our shimmer shade, I'm going to go in with this pretty purple called Spellbound. I'm going to use this little flat brush, and I'm just going to pop this right in between the mattes that we laid down. I'm not using any glitter glue. I just have my fabulous GlamLite icing base, which I have been in love with. Cannot stop using it. It's so great. We're just going to pop this on the lid. Next, for eyeliner, I'm going to go in with my NYX Vivid Brights in Vivid Violet. Okay, so this is the top lid completed with liner. I think the liner really just kicked it up a notch. Really pulled out all those beautiful purple shades. I really love this look. What do you guys think? I didn't put any lashes on, I just put a little bit of mascara, but I think it's really pretty. And I love the way that the blue blended with the purple pinks and created like a deeper violet shade. It's just such a smart palette. I think in the interest of time, I'm gonna wipe this off. I'm gonna create a second look for you guys. And then I think we'll just do the base with the third look. So I really like the way that first look turned out. I wanna try a similar style look, but with the blues and greens. So I'm gonna reach into the same brush that we first started with. It's just a small packing brush. And I'm going to dip into Body Snatched, which is this beautiful chartreuse matte. And I'm gonna, again, pop this in the inner corner, as well as the outer corner, leaving that space in the center open. Then using the other side of the same brush, I'm gonna reach into Creature Feature, and you'll see what I mean, where this is turquoise on its own, but when I layer this on top of the green shade, it really becomes very minty. I'm just gonna pack that a little bit lower in the inner and outer corner. See how that kind of starts to pull green? But I'm really gonna pack in this blue. But I love that these colors are so like versatile within each color story, that you can really pull different tones out of some of these mattes by combining them with other mattes. I think it was a really smart way to do a 9-pan palette. And it really does provide a lot more diversity than your standard 9-pan palette in terms of how many looks you can create. Then grabbing our clean fluffy brush once more, I'm going to blend these two shades. Again, I don't want to blend them too much because I don't want to muddy the formula too much, but I just want to kind of have these guys work together a little bit more seamlessly. And I'll probably go back and reinforce the green a bit. Then again, to show the diversity of the shade, we're gonna reach into Predator. And this time we'll see if the blue pulls more blue than purple, the way that it did in the other look. And you can see that it's just really pulling out the blues. I think this is just so smart. I think Theresa did such a great job popping this here in the inner corner. And then I'll go back and blend with the other shades because this blue can definitely tend to take over a little bit. I'm gonna tap into the turquoise shade called Creature Feature and kind of pop this over the dark blue. We're gonna kind of go back and forth, and we'll kind of blend in between. And then going back with the green side of the brush into Body Snatched. Just want to bring that back in so we don't lose the green. I just cleaned up the fallout under my eyes. I would definitely recommend doing your eyes first with this palette. The shades can be a little bit powdery, but I think that makes them super blendable and easy to work with. So now to choose a shimmer, I'm gonna pick Straight to VHS. It's pretty kind of like chartreusey green shimmer. And I'm gonna just pop this on the center of the lid. That is so pretty. Next for the lid, I'm gonna reach into the chartreuse liner called Ectoplasm. And I just picked some up on this flat brush. I'm just gonna start carving this into a little wing. And these are super creamy, really easy to work with. I completely understand why these are Theresa's favorite liners. Very pigmented and super user-friendly. All right, y'all, so this is the second eye look. I am obsessed with this cool little like graphic wing. I didn't actually plan, I planned to like, carry it across my lid like I normally would, but I freaking love that. It's so cool, like just a little triangle. I think it's so fun. I'm making myself a little bit nervous. I have no idea what I'm gonna do for the third look. And I've loved these first two looks so much. I'm so glad I redid this video. Y'all deserve it, Theresa deserves it, Lethal deserves it. I am so happy with these looks. I think they're so much cooler than the first ones I did. And I'm obsessed. Obsessed. Okay, let's create a third look. Now for the third look, I'm super nervous because the first two looks I loved so much. In fact, the first look, I'm like, I should have done this one third. I can't imagine like you look better than this one. And then I did the second look and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have done this one third because I like this one even more. So let's hope for the third look that I can actually do something that I love the most. We'll see. So I'm gonna start with the shade Predator on the same little fluffy brush we've been using for Predator. And I'm gonna just start this in the lowest part of my crease. I'm really gonna pack that shade, taking a little bit at a time and just popping it on in there. A little bit of like a patting motion. Now that we have that color kind of laid down, I'm just gonna go back in with our clean blending brush. It's not so clean anymore, but no additional product. I'm just gonna start blending this. Just to get the color all in between the wrinkles and crinkles and smoothed onto this base. Next, using a small, clean, fluffy brush, I'm gonna reach into Watery Grave, which is like a pretty matte periwinkle shade. And I just wanna start blending the edge of the deep blue that we laid down, Predator, with this Watery Grave shade. Next, I'm gonna take a bit of a risk, but what's the point of playing with these eyeshadows if not to take some risks? I'm gonna grab Vengeful Spirit. We're gonna see, girls, we're gonna see. And I'm picking some up on this very small shader brush, and I'm gonna just put this in the crease and pray that I don't just completely screw this whole thing up. Then I'm just working this the entire way across. Into the inner corner. And you can see that the blue is pulling that purple out of Vengeful Spirit. Even though it looks like a pretty deep Merlot shade, Theresa was so smart. She created such a clever palette in the way that these shades just work together and transform one another. It's so cool. I'm also going to take that same shade and just kind of run it here along the outer corner down to my lash line. Then going back with my clean fluffy brush, I'm just going to sweep these shades to gently blend. So now that we have all that crease work done, I'm gonna reach back into the palette for a shimmer. And I think I'm going to reach for Ancient Evil, this pretty copper color that we have not used yet. I'm gonna use the same flat shader brush we've been using for the shimmers. And I wanna pop this all over the mobile lid. Pretty much bringing it like right up to the bottom of the crease, but not over. Trying to keep that like right on the mobile lid. Now that we have the shimmer all over both lids, I'm gonna reach back into the palette into Vengeful Spirit on this little skinny blending brush. And I just want to blend the shimmer very, very gently with this beautiful kind of burgundy purple shade, just to kind of carve out the crease. Then dipping into the shade Entity, which is a really pretty like slate gray. I am just going to use this flat brush to create a wing. That is so cool. I love that I'm just like trying this stuff on the fly I've literally never done before, and I'm loving it. How freaking cool. Y'all, ochre This is the final look. I was gonna do something on the lower lash line and I thought, you know what? Why mess with a good thing? I love the way that this turned out. I think it's so funky. It's like unexpected colors I would have never necessarily put together if I wasn't trying to use all of the shades in the palette and creating different looks for you guys. I really like this. It's the first time I ever tried like a graphic liner like that. It's the first time I ever tried, you know, just creating a wing without lining my eye with the green look. I thought that was really cool. I think Theresa created such a beautiful palette, one that's very diverse. The looks that I created today are nothing like the looks I created before. They're all so different and I like these looks so much better. In my previous looks, I did even try using the liners as bases and they do look really beautiful that way as well, but I wanted to try using them a little bit more as a spotlight today and not just cover them with eyeshadow. So I don't know, I think it's really cool. This is totally a different look for me. I've never created anything that looks like this. So I'm just really happy with it. I hope you guys are pleased with the way that the looks came out. I hope this gave you guys some inspiration. I hope that my feedback on this palette could be unique and helpful to you. I myself was super surprised at how transformative these mattes can be when used together. The way that the teal can become more green or more blue, the way the blue can become more purple or more blue, the way that the reds look more pink and purple, in addition to their beautiful kind of burgundy tones. I just think she created such a unique, beautiful color story that's so much more than meets the eye. And I'm so happy that I picked this palette up. Super duper congratulations to both Lethal Cosmetics and Theresa is Dead on the success of this gorgeous palette. I'm so happy that I was inspired to try this formula because of Theresa's collaboration, and I cannot wait to pick up more of these gel liners. I think they're so unique and beautiful and very easy to work with. I thank you all so much for being here with me today. I love you all so much, and until the next video, bye.